What's going on, aspiring investors, passive income builders? Welcome back to the channel. This one's a little bit different. I usually show my M1 finance portfolio and let you know what my dividend stocks are doing, what I'm seeing in the stock market. But today is a little bit different. This is Monday, and I'm just gonna upload this video without editing or anything like that, no screen share. But I just wanted to give a little bit of inspiration to those who are trying to get started, or maybe you're stuck with investing, you're trying to turn your family tree around. And I just wanted to just quickly share this message with you because I just wanted to kind of roll back to one of the earlier times when I first started investing. And the thing that really changed the game for me, I'm on my way to work right now, by the way. And so what really changed the game for me is one day I just woke up and I was like, yo, I don't want to live the life that I'm living anymore. I want more for my family, I want more for myself, and I want it more for those around me. And and I'm grinding even to this day. And sometimes life can get you down, and you're thinking to yourself, yo, how am I gonna reach the life that I know is possible? And sometimes you don't even know it's possible for you, but you see other people doing it and you're like, yo, how do I get to this next level? And so anyway, this video is for you. If you're one of those people who are stuck right now and you're trying to get out of the rut, know that you can do it. And what I did was one day, I don't know, for each person is different. For me, one day I just realized, yo, I don't want to do this anymore. So I got like an Excel spreadsheet, and you don't need an Excel spreadsheet, but I was already like used to using spreadsheets and Word documents and stuff like that. So it was easy for me, but like a piece of paper, like a napkin, whatever the case. But I wrote down all my expenses, and I wrote down how much money I was making. I only had one income source, so that was easy. But I wrote down all my expenses. I wrote down all my credit card bills, American Express, Visa, MasterCard, whatever the case, Discover, all these store cards I had. These were all I had monthly payments on all these cards. I was in so much credit card debt, it was ridiculous. And it was very stressful too, helping my mom out, single income, single family, or single mom, raising two boys. So, I had allocated an expense just for my mom to help her out. So I was adding up all these expenses, and I was like, yo, man, this is why I'm not winning, and this is why I can't get ahead, because it was like I think I was actually making less than I owed every single month. So every month things were getting worse. And so, I just started focusing on, all right, how do I reduce these expenses? Because reducing my expenses was way easier than increasing my income at the time. So I just started looking at, all right, how do I renegotiate insurance payments? All right, so I negotiated my insurance, I refinanced my car. I had a rental property that I was losing money on because there was no renter in there at one point. Another time there was a renter in there, but they weren't paying. So that was like a headache, and it was like I never knew if I was going to get paid or not. So long and short of it, I ended up selling that rental property. I got back into real estate and in real estate investing years down the line, but at this time I was just losing my ass on this, and I was just like, yo, let me just get out of this. So I ended up selling the property, but that selling the property freed me up. It freed up a lot of cash and capital. It lowered my monthly expenses. Those expenses, and it sucked. It really sucked. There were several years I carried that rental property that was losing money year after year. But the crazy thing is if I stuck with it, then that property would have been worth like $300,000 more today than it was when I bought it, and it would have almost been paid off today, assuming I had stayed on the regular monthly payment schedule for making mortgage payments. That was a lesson learned, though, and that lesson, thankfully, was something I paid attention to, and I leveled up off that moving forward. I'll have to share that with you guys in a future video. But so doing that, selling that property at the time freed up my cash flow. So I was no longer negative every single month and digging myself further and further into high interest credit card debt. So then, I started looking at different ways to increase my income. I got a second job, and I was looking for a part-time job, couldn't find a part-time job, ended up getting a second full-time job that was obviously, a different working hour schedule than my main job. So the first job was actually a night shift job. The second job I got was a day shift job, and it just worked because they were, one ended when the next one was about to start, and they weren't too far apart from each other. So I ended up just doing both, and it worked out. And I did that for like almost 2 years. It was like 20 months or something like that. Anyway, with that in mind, I didn't know it was going to last that long. I was just like, man, I don't even know if I can do this like a week. But you adapt, and if you're hungry, you make it. So anyway, I had my plan. Well, I didn't have a plan, but I figured out where I was and what needed to be fixed. I needed to increase my income. I needed to decrease my expenses, and I needed to get out of credit card debt and invest. So with the overtime I was earning from one job, and you don't have to have two jobs. You can get a second job. You can get a part-time job. You can create a side hustle, take overtime, whatever it takes. You do what you need to do. And so with that extra money, paid off all my credit cards, paid my car off, and at the same time I was kind of like investing a little bit. And then once everything was paid off, like I was investing like my face off. And so so I was just like, man, like every month I was like, all right, how much money can I funnel into this bank account, or how much money can I funnel into this stock brokerage account that I had, and then invest that money? Because I was like, yo, if I could just earn, like I had this spreadsheet, and I was just messing around with different percentage rates for interest that I could earn potentially based on historical stock market performance. So I was like, all right, so if I only earn 7% interest on my money, if I only earn 8% interest on my money, if I earn 10% interest on my money over the next 30 years, putting in, I played around with the numbers. Hey, if I could figure out a way to invest $500 a month, how much would that be at 8% interest, 10% interest, whatever the case is, right? And then it was just like, oh man, what if I could figure out a way to invest $1,000 a month? So like I just kept playing with the numbers, because how the amount that I was able to put in was miraculous to see how much faster I could hit $1 million. And so sometimes I would plug numbers in, and it's like, man, dude, there's no way you can put this much in. $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month, whatever it is. Like I just kept being curious, how fast could you hit $1 million? Because in my mind, I felt like $1 million was the number, that key number that I needed to hit in order to be financially free, whatever that meant at the time, right? And so anyway, long and short of it, believe it or not, I started investing. I started really investing at $50 a month. I just didn't have that much money. And you might start at $10 a month, $50, $1,000 a month. I don't know where you're going to start, but I know that for me, I started off with $50 a month, and I grew from there in terms of how much my monthly contribution was. And so fast forward, month after month, I would figure out ways to have more money to invest, because you would see the growth. And here's the other thing, like that forward momentum, as you see the account building, it's like, oh wow, yo, it's working. You're seeing the money grow. But at the same time, you will have down days, you will have down months. Like the stock market is down right now tremendously. But the question that you have to have for yourself, and you need to really know the answer to this before you get started, is, are you in this for the short term, or are you in this for the long term? For me, I knew I was in this for the long term. So, these little short term hiccups, a little bit of market, stock market crash here and there, I had to mentally prepare myself for the stock market crashing occasionally. And looking at historical charts helped me to feel like, all right, this happened before, I'll get through this. And that is what helped me to make it through when stock markets were crashing, and it gave me the confidence to continue to invest. So anyway, fast forward to today, I'm investing way more than that. I'm investing way more than $50 a month. And it was only possible by writing down my plan, having a goal. And the funny thing is I thought that I would hit $1 million after like almost 30 years. But believe it or not, when you have a goal and you're actively working on that goal, depending upon how hungry you are, and of course someone's calling me in the middle of my video, right? So anyway, so depending upon how hungry you are, and as you're seeing progress and as you're moving forward and you're not letting anything get in your way in terms of achieving your goal, you will be surprised how much faster sometimes you can actually hit your goal. For me, I ended up hitting my goal in, I think it was like 13 or 14 years. But, you know, everyone's going to be different. But, you know, grinding it out, not being afraid to work. But here's the cool thing. There was a point at which I realized, wow, my investments are now working for me. Money, my cash, my money is working for me. Instead of just me working for money, I got to a point where my money was working for me. And that was the real game changer. So instead of like saying, you know, hey, how much more can I make? Instead of trying to figure out how much more overtime can I make, I was seeing my income growing off of the interest that was being generated from the stock market, from the investments that I was making, and my money was growing faster than I could even contribute to it. And that it was like I added another source of income by having these stock market investments. And that was the true power of wealth building. It was like, yo, I started with nothing, and at some point I grew to, you know, the portfolio, the investments grew to a point where, yo, it's actually making, you know, passive income, so to speak, right? I mean, technically it is passive, because if the account is growing and I'm not adding any more to it, I have accounts that I don't even add to anymore. I got a lot of different accounts. I diversify my investments. I diversify in terms of the stocks that I'm invested in, but I also diversified in terms of the accounts that I have. So I have some accounts that I don't even invest in, I don't even contribute to anymore. And those accounts, some of them have tripled. And I haven't put any money in the last several years. So it's proof that this works. Now, this is not investment advice. I just wanted to share with you guys my experience. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of positive inspiration to help you to continue down the path. And if you haven't even started down the path, I want to encourage you to give it a shot. You guys can do it too. I know you can. If I can do it, man, I was so broke at one point, it was ridiculous. And no one in my family ever had money. So, like, it's not even like I knew someone that was doing it in my family that I could, like, replicate or emulate. It was like, yo, no one had money. And I just feel like, you know, if I could come from being poor growing up in New York to today, I know anybody can do it. So anyway, drop me some comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I hope this reaches the right people. Keep pushing. Stay hungry, and you can do this. Take care, guys.